Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at just one source, but it's incredibly powerful.
It really is. A narrative called Death of a New Song.
And our mission here is basically to unpack this story for you. We want to get into the characters, their lives, the bits of hope.
And the tragedy, too, which is pretty stark.
Exactly. Pull out the key moments, the core insights, so you get the essence of what this narrative is really saying.
And it throws you right in.
Yeah.
Sets the scene in this urban house, a family, just trying to get by day to day.
You feel it straight away, don't you? That tension.
Oh, yeah. This undercurrent of struggle. It's palpable.
So let's meet the family. We've got Mrs. Robinson, the mother, and the text mentions she's visibly frustrated.
Right off the bat. And her son, Rob, he's our central figure.
Then there's the grandma, who sounds quite frail but important.
Very. A gentle presence. And then the father, Mr. Robinson.
Okay, and the house itself, you mentioned it's part of the story.
Definitely. It's described as older, urban, and specifically in need of repair.
Which tells you something about their circumstances immediately. Money's tight.
Precisely. The setting reflects their situation. And you see the mom's frustration. She's calling for Rob. It sounds exasperated.
It paints a picture of the weight they're carrying, doesn't it? Not an easy life.
Not at all. And Rob's reaction is telling, too. He tries to avoid her frustration.
Makes a quick U-turn back to his room, the source says.
Yeah. But he has an escape route. Mentally, at least.
Right. Ray Charles.
Yes. His tiny room is just covered in cuttings of Ray Charles. There's even a framed picture mentioned Ray at a grand piano.
So it's more than just being a fan, it's like his sanctuary.
Exactly. His inspiration, his way to kind of check out from the pressure. That contrast is key. The struggling house versus this vibrant world of music on his walls.
And the tension keeps building. The father, Mr. Robinson, arrives.
And the description is interesting. Extravagant clothing, but nothing else exceptional about him.
What do you take from that? It feels specific.
Well, it suggests maybe he's all show, flashy on the outside, but lacking substance, lacking connection.
Yeah, the text says there's immediate discomfort when he walks in. No warmth with his wife or mother-in-law.
Right. His presence doesn't bring stability. It seems to bring something else. Trouble, maybe.
And Rob sees him and just bolts back to his room again. Confirms that feeling.
Totally. And almost right away, that tension just explodes.
The argument between the parents, described as a madness that has taken root. Wow.
Yeah, that phrasing tells you it's deep, it's destructive, not just a simple fight.
So the family conflict is serious. And what's Rob doing while this is happening?
He's in his room, fixated on those Ray Charles cuttings again, trying to lock it out, using music as a shield almost.
That makes sense. Music is his defense. The argument eventually dies down, but the evening's not over.
No, Mrs. Robinson calls for Rob after the shouting stops.
But then we see another important relationship step into the light.
The grandma,
Yes.
she kind of intervenes, offers Rob refuge with her.
They share dinner. It's quiet, mostly just her encouraging him to eat.
And there's that little moment, right, where Rob playfully refuses more food, rubs his tummy.
Yeah, a tiny bit of shared amusement between the mother and grandmother, like a bubble of normalcy.
A very fragile bubble, it turns out.
Yeah.
Because then the outside world intrudes.
The knocks on the door.
2 knocks. Shy, but unusual, the text says,
Hmm.
which feels ominous.
Shy is unsettling, not confident, but still menacing somehow.
Right, and Mrs. Robinson's reaction is instant. Slams the door, infuriated, starts pacing.
She knows what this is, or who it is. The men are asking for Michael, Mr. Robinson.
Her reaction suggests this isn't new. She knows the trouble he's in. It's like the danger has arrived right on their doorstep.
Then later there's another quiet moment. Rob helping Grandma count her pills. Sweet, playful.
Another small moment of connection, almost like the story is setting you up.
Before it gets worse again.
Exactly, because the father returns, and those 2 men, they follow him inside the house.
They don't wait on the porch. That detail feels significant.
It implies they have power over him, right?
Yeah.
They don't need his permission.
And then the demand. One guy, soft voice but threatening.
Chilling. Get the bag, man. And he nods towards Rob and the grandma.
Soft but threatening.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sinister. And the mother explodes.
She comes storming out. You bring this to my house, Michael. Just pure desperation and anger.
Understandably, bringing that danger right into their home, near her son and mother.
And then it just escalates. Loud. Shouts, curses, pounding sounds, threats. Total chaos.
Rob tries to run.
Yeah, he gets outside, terrified, but the darkness scares him even more, so he runs back to his room.
Back to the sanctuary. Hiding, crying, trying to block the noise.
And that's when he starts talking to himself. referencing Ray Charles again.
Oh, that part is heartbreaking. You never cried, did you, Ray? I'm just like, Ray?
Yeah. Clinging to that image of strength while his world is literally falling apart outside the door, it shows how deep that connection to music, to his hero, goes. It's survival.
The noise finally stops, leaving, well, silence, but not peace, I imagine.
Definitely not peace. But the next morning, the tone shifts dramatically, almost jarringly.
How so?
Rob wakes up to indistinct, somber music, hinting at the night before. But he is excited. He wants to go to his piano lesson.
Despite everything,
Oh, yeah.
wow, music is really his focus.
It is. He has this little routine, checks the weather, comes back inside, sits next to his grandma.
The text has that image, like a chick under its mother's protective wings.
Such a powerful image, showing the security he finds with her, another woman providing that comfort.
And Grandma asks about the lesson.
Yeah, what he'll learn. Chords. And Rob confidently defines a chord. A combination of 3 or more notes.
So even after that night, his passion is intact, his focus is there.
It really is. It gives him a sense of competence, I think, that contrasts with the chaos at home.
Breakfast sounds good, lots of food, and there's a nice moment with his mom.
Yeah, a playful bit where she jokes about him not teaching her the cool stuff he teaches Grandma.
Another glimpse of that supportive side, mainly from the women in his life.
Absolutely. They talk practical things, too. Mom going back to work, Grandma staying longer.
And Rob gets ready for his lesson. Seems like quite a ritual.
Oh, yeah. Cleaning up, changing clothes, pacing back and forth. He's buzzing with excitement. It clearly means the world to him.
Which brings us to Mrs. Cotton, the piano teacher.
Right. An elderly lady, early 70s, lives in a modest house, but it's described as isolated.
She sounds welcoming, though, even with Rob knocking eagerly.
Yes, very warm. And her house is described carefully. Pictures, certificates, handmade things, a piano competition award.
A place with history and accomplishment.
Exactly. Her living room is large, organized, has this old, well-kept piano, antiques. Gives it a museum feel, the source says.
So the complete opposite of Rob's house.
Totally. It's a sanctuary of order, history, dignity, focused on music. There's even a ritual of cookies and juice. Comfort, consistency.
And then they have a really important conversation.
Crucial.
Okay.
She asks about him helping at home, teaching Grandma piano, acknowledging his life outside the lessons.
And Rob asks the big question.
The heart of it all. Mrs. Quatton, do you think I can be as good as Ray was?
Laying his dream right out there. Maybe some doubt, too.
Maybe. And her answer is just fantastic. She doesn't just say yes. She talks about practice, hard work, tells him he could be even better.
But she connects it to something bigger, doesn't she?
Yes, that's the key insight. She links his music to escaping that rotten place, making a better life for himself and his mom.
So the piano isn't just about music. It's hope. It's a potential way out.
That's exactly how it's framed. Music as salvation.
The lesson itself sounds very structured. Reviewing notes, middle C, chords.
Explanation, questions, notes, practice. It's a world of order and progress for him. So different from home.
And she helps him create his own space within her house.
Yeah, moves the piano to a private spot near a window. He loves it, calls it his special place. It means a lot to him.
His own little corner within her sanctuary. Then his mom arrives.
Mrs. Robinson comes to pick him up, and she brings groceries for Mrs. Cotton. Fruits and vegetables.
The text says it's a way to repay her kindness.
Yeah, it shows that mutual support between the women. They're both invested in Rob. His mom even helps make dinner there. A sense of community. And Rob wants to play for his mom.
He insists. Plays the chords he learned with zeal and confidence. The source says he seems like a complete stranger at the piano.
Transformed by the music.
Totally engrossed, passionate, full of power and self-assurance. It shows his talent, allows him to be this different, confident person.
Mrs. Cotton praises him. His mom's amazed. That was amazing, honey.
You feel her pride. Maybe that hope Mrs. Cotton planted is starting to bloom for her, too.
And as they leave, Mrs. Cotton gives him that reminder.
Remember what we talked about? That little nudge about the bigger picture, the estate plan?
Back home, though, the contrast hits again.
Yeah. Rob plays outside with other kids, but it makes his mom uneasy. Noise, things going missing.
Even normal kid stuff feels unsafe there.
There's always that low-level threat, isn't there, defining their life?
And then, story turns again, sharply. Tragically, Rob's taking a bath, hears loud knocking, and then his mother's screaming. Wailing.
And the source uses that devastating phrase.
A cry all too common in this community.
That line just lands like a punch.
Yeah.
It frames this not as unique, but as part of a pattern. A recurring tragedy.
Yeah. He finds his mom being comforted by other women from the neighborhood. That community support, again, in grief.
Grandma takes him. He cries himself to sleep, can barely eat.
And Grandma doesn't tell him what happened. Trying to shield him, maybe.
But the truth comes out 6 days later, the funeral.
Mr. Robinson's funeral. And the cause is stated explicitly. A drug-related shooting.
So the danger that knocked on the door, it caught up with him.
Exactly. And the funeral itself, the things people say lost a good man, taken too soon, are described as familiar cliches.
Reinforcing that idea again. An all too common misfortune. This happens. People know the script.
Life sort of resumes after that.
Yeah.
Months pass. Things settle into a relative normalcy.
Mom's working, Grandma stays, and Rob.
Crucially, his piano playing keeps getting better. His passion grows. He's even getting known at the local church for it.
Still holding on to that dream, that escape route through music.
Absolutely. Which brings us near the end. A Thursday afternoon, cloudy, cold. Rob's back at Mrs. Cotton's.
Back in the sanctuary, helping her with flower pots. A quiet, hopeful scene.
And he tells her something important. His song. He thinks it's ready.
The one he's been working on, what's it called?
Gone by Robin Brown.
Gone. Wow, and the lyrics.
They're all about departure. Vanishing, journeying far away, a new dawn, a new porch, being far from home. Hearing a call like celestial horns.
It's literally his escape plan put into words, his deepest desire.
Absolutely. Leaving that rotten place, finding a new beginning, guided by his music.
And Mrs. Cotton helps him work on it.
Yeah, guides him. They sing it, hum it, work on the lyrics together, get it perfect. He's so happy, so excited.
It feels like the culmination of everything. The hope, the mentorship, his talent.
It really does. They get drinks. He's eager to get to the piano, start adding chords to his finished song. He's right there, about to bring it fully to life.
And then...
The knock on the door.
Oh no, not again.
That shy knock. And Rob recognizes the voice instantly. High-pitched, it sends a shiver down his spine.
It's them, the men from before. The threat returns.
Yes. Mrs. Cotton answers. They push her inside.
She fights back.
She does. Shouts, struggles, defies them, yells for help. Even then, she's resisting. One tells the other to search.
And then the shot.
A warning shot. Maybe intended that way, but it hits Rob.
Right. What was he?
Right by the piano, about to play his song. The bullet goes through his lungs, into his heart.
No. Right at that moment.
Right at that moment, his life, his
Yeah.
new song, silenced together.
He falls onto the piano. The men run.
Violence arises, destroys, and vanishes just as quickly, leaving Mrs. Cotton in shock, grieving, trying desperately to help him.
Dragging him, crying his name, cursing the place.
Yeah. The crowd gathers. Men help carry him. And then Mrs. Robinson arrives, sees her son, and collapses.
The all too common misfortune returns. Taking everything this time.
It just devastatingly pulls all the threads together. You have Rob's talent, his passion, all the love and hope from the women,
Representing aspiration, potential.
clashing directly with the harsh reality. Yeah. His father's choices, the violence of the rotten place,
And the ultimate irony, the most painful part.
is that his dream of escaping through music, nurtured in Mrs. Cotton's safe house, is destroyed in that very house by the violence he was trying to flee.
The sanctuary wasn't safe enough.
No. And the title, Death of a New Song,
Mm.
it becomes so heavy. Literal, yes, his song, Gone, is unfinished. His life is over.
But symbolic, too. The death of potential. The death of hope, his future, gone.
And because the narrative explicitly calls this an all too common misfortune.
It forces you to see it as bigger than just Rob.
Exactly. It's framed as representative. A commentary on how these environments can just extinguish bright sparks. Talent, hope, doesn't matter sometimes.
So the core of it is this young, incredible talent surrounded by love and hope, but ultimately consumed by the inescapable violence around him.
Yeah. A cycle that takes the innocent too. It's gut-wrenching.
And it really leaves you thinking, doesn't it? That final question lingers.
It does. What does this story ultimately say about environment versus aspiration? Can potential truly flourish? Can it be protected when the challenges are this overwhelming? And, well, what happens when that protection fails?
A powerful story and a deeply unsettling question to leave with you.